What's up everybody, it's Joe here with Joseph Blake Photography, and in today's video, it's time to talk about Adobe again. We're getting hit with a photography package price hike at the beginning of 2025. I want to talk about that, I want to tell you how you can save some money, and I also want to talk about the features in this package that might actually make it still worth it. So let's jump in. So again, I'm Joe, this is my channel, Joseph Blake Photography. I am a working photographer here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a content creator here on YouTube. If that's the kind of stuff that you're into, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. If at the end of the video you thought that this was an informative video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. That's enough about me. We'll talk more about my Instagram giveaway at the end if you're looking for free gear, but let's jump into talking about these Adobe updates. So Adobe has announced that they're going to be increasing the price of the currently available photography 20 gigabyte plan. Currently, that plan is $9.99. It's $10 and it's $120 if you buy it for the year. What Adobe has told us is that if you don't buy it for the year, it's gonna go from $10 a month to $15 a month, which is a 50% increase in the monthly cost. But I think that this is fair. I can't really blame Adobe for this. Number one, this plan includes a lot of stuff, which we're gonna talk about in a second. Number two, if you prepay it, you still only pay $120. You still get to lock in the $120, $10 per month pricing. And while the 50% price increase is a lot, and I know that photographers especially are being hit with price increases at the beginning of the year, right? Anybody using Honeybook? That is something that can be a surprise, and especially if you're paying for everything at the beginning of the year, can really kind of hurt the pocketbook. But if you are a professional creator, if you are a professional photographer and you're using this software, yeah, it's 50% increase, but it's only $5 more a month. And to be quite honest, it hasn't gone up in 11 years. This is the first price hike since the plan was introduced in 2013. So your options are either to stay on the month-to-month plan and pay $14.99 starting on January 15th. That's option one. And that's to continue to get the photography plan at the 20 gigabyte level. The next option is to prepay for a year at $120, save the $5 and pay $120 up front, and then boom, it's paid for and you're done. Again, if you're working photographer, $120 really isn't a significant expense considering the fact that we've got a lot of other expenses, licensing and insurance and equipment and your CRM and your hosting platform and galleries and all that kind of stuff. But there's actually another option, which is to go to the next tier up, which is the $19.99 option, $20 a month, which you can also prepay for the year, but I don't think you save anything. I think it's still $240 if you do that. And that gets you the 1 terabyte plan. Again, stay at $15, pay $10, but do it for the year, or switch over to the $20 plan and get 50 times the storage. Now you might be like me and you don't really use a lot of their online storage, but I have started to use more of it because I use mostly Lightroom Classic, and I have created a workflow for myself where when I'm done with a photo shoot and I know that there's just some absolute bangers in that shoot, and I know that I've talked to the client and they know that I'm gonna be using their photos potentially for marketing or to distribute to other places. And then I like to have that on my phone. Maybe do an Instagram post, maybe do a reel, maybe send those photos off to another client who's looking for some examples, or maybe honestly just kind of toy with some of my editing techniques. I like having that right on my phone. I like having that remote. And I don't do it with all my photos, obviously, but just some of the best ones, and having that additional storage makes that easier. After January 15th, if you are not already on the existing 20 gigabyte plan, it will not be available for purchase. But if you want it, go get it now, and then be prepared to either pay the $5 more or be prepared to prepay for the year and get the better deal. And while I know that there are a lot of things that we have issues with Adobe, one thing that you can't really fault them on is that they have been innovating their products. The addition of some of the features over the last few years, specifically into Lightroom and Photoshop and Adobe Camera Raw, have been significant for photographers. And I want to focus on 3 specific things. Number one is masking. Now, could we mask before? Yes, especially in Photoshop. You could make selections, you could create layers, all of that. But you can't tell me that you think that it's easier to create masks, by selecting with the lasso tool and creating dodge and burn layers all by hand in layers in Photoshop versus just doing it using the masking tool that we now have in Photoshop and especially in Lightroom and not having to leave Lightroom. The fact that we have those tools for masking and that now we have the AI-driven selection tools to power a lot of that masking, that is huge. And I would say, looking at the photographers that I follow, they're better than me and they use these tools probably more than I do. They use these tools a lot. And I think masking specifically, subject selection and masking has become the most powerful and widely used thing in Lightroom. And we got it without a price bump. The other thing that that masking technique gives you is the adaptive presets. Now we have the new adaptive color profile, all while continuing to update RAW compatibility for new cameras, lens profiles, AI-driven catalogs and AI search tools. And then you do still have the power of Photoshop when you need to get into it and really, really dig in deep to a photo. Can Lightroom be faster? Absolutely. You know what's a lot faster than Lightroom? Adobe Camera Raw, because it doesn't have the whole catalog component kind of attached to it. You effectively get the same tools and power that you have in Lightroom in Adobe Camera Raw, which also continues to update, and you get it as a part of this subscription, whether you're at the $120 for a year, $15 for a month, or $20 for a month. But that subscription gives you more than just those pieces of software. You also get Adobe fonts, which I use a ton of, and I love that they're integrated. You get Portfolio, which I don't personally use, but I do know some people who do. You can use Behance, which again, I don't use it, but I do know some people who do. And you get all the mobile apps. As much as you get Lightroom and all of that in the mobile apps thing, I think Adobe Express is actually the mobile app that people talk about the least. I don't have a Canva subscription because I can use Adobe Express and it gives me most of the tools that I would use in Canva, but I get it as a part of my already existing subscription. If you are not a professional who is shooting, every day or every weekend, and you are making money, you're making a living off of your photography, these products might not be for you. If you're a hobbyist and enthusiast and you just like playing with them, well, that's the cost of doing business. But if you're a professional, you're writing this stuff off, this is a part of what you do, then these price changes aren't really a big deal, especially considering the fact that we haven't seen a price change in this in over a decade. But if you are a professional and this really just doesn't fit in your budget, or if you're a hobbyist or just an enthusiast and you don't want to pay for it anymore, there are a ton of other options out there that you can look at. And I would strongly recommend you try them all. And if you're a professional that you can afford it, but you're just not using any of these new features, I would honestly recommend that you give them a spin, see how they feel, because I think that they do a lot, or move to another platform, right? There are other options out there. There are things that you can do to make these prices more manageable. But if you can afford it and you're using it, lock yourself in to that 1-year plan at $120, get the better price. And if you're gonna jump ship, let me know down in the comments, where are you going? What's the alternative that you think is gonna give you the best bang for your buck for these types of services? And last but not least, and I said this at the beginning, I told you there was a way that you could save money. For most people, myself included, we are all students of life. And let's say that you've been a student at an organization that gave you an email address, and you still have access to that email address. Well, like I said, we're all students of some kind. And if you still have access to that, I would strongly encourage you to take a look at education plan discounts on Adobe's website. They offer discounts for just about every plan, including, say, the entire Creative Cloud suite, which if I remember correctly, you can get for as low as like $38, if I'm remembering correctly. But I wouldn't know anything about that. Don't forget about my Instagram giveaway. I have tons and tons of gear that I review that I am giving away because I do not need it. I'm gonna go ahead and post a link to this video here, up here, and down here, where you can get all the details about the giveaway. I'm trying to get my Instagram account up over 1,000 followers. Help me do that and get included in this giveaway. Also, I've got memberships here on the channel where I'll be posting content early, as well as offering things like LUTs, presets, titles, and other things that I've developed for myself as a photographer and content creator here on YouTube that I want to share to you for free as a part of the membership. I'll also be doing live videos and chats in the new year. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this change to pricing. If this is the kind of thing that you're into, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. If this video was informative to you, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.